What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan.
And today I'm back with
Gershwan.
doing another For the Greater with
Gershwan. This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And we are super overexposed. Like, I'm super pale.
Maybe it's just pores.
Maybe. Or maybe like somebody did an extra highlight on me with a white. Dry brushing a highlight is the best way to go. It's the quickest way to go for all those who want to know.
Yeah.
You get this beautiful highlight on my forehead, or should I say 5 head. This question comes from Gruff Bevan. Do you think there will be a return of the squats, even if it's a small unit in the Imperial Guard? That's a good question.
Yeah.
The squats were a thing back in Rogue Trader, and they were just basically space dwarves. I really like them. I think they're really badass. It's a cool concept. They're abhumans.
Yeah.
So they're just like an offshoot of humanity back before the Age of Strife. And they've like evolved their own kind of customs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a squat model right now in Necromunda.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty much it. I think what GW did when they came out with that squat model is kind of like paying fanfare. Kind of like, because everybody's been saying like, oh, we should get squats back, we should get space dwarves back, and GW just like puts one model. You can buy it for like probably crazy expensive. I think it's probably like $20 for that one model or something. But I don't think we're ever gonna get a unit.
No. If you really are dying to play squats, it is possible to play them if you go to Age of Sigmar.
Yep.
Yeah, they've got the
Storm. No, what are they called? Iron something?
Yeah, they're basically steampunk dwarves.
Yeah.
And they look really cool. Their line's pretty amazing. And they don't seem that hard to convert over to 40K. You could easily just like swap out rules for like the Imperial Guard or the Astra Militarum to these squats and play them that way. Sure. But in terms of having abhumans in 40K as like a playable race, I don't think it's going to happen. Because if so, we would have seen ratlings, maybe some beast men. But so far, any abhuman stuff is kind of pushed to Age of Sigmar, or like you were saying earlier, Necromunda, Blackstone Fortress, that kind of thing.
Yep. Which is cool. That's why, like, I've always said that a good fix for this problem of like all of us, everybody who's into the lore and wants to see all these extra Xeno races or these abhuman races. A fix to that is GW just come out with a codex for like a mercenary codex.
Yeah.
Where you can have crew, you can have all of the different auxiliaries of the Tau, you can have all the different abhumans, stuff like that, and make them kind of like assassins, where each model is probably going to be worth a lot of points on the tabletop, but they have cool little quirks that they can do.
Mm-hmm. Or at least make it like two different troop types in an HQ.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to fill up like a patrol detachment or something, you could bring those along.
Yeah.
At least with 9th edition rules. They might change it up in 10th.
Yeah.
Or just go unbound. This one's by Caress Me. How well defended is Krieg? Do you think it could stand up to a high fleet or an orc wall? And do you think it's better defended than Armageddon?
No.
Mm-mm.
There's no resources on Krieg because of the fact that they destroyed it with their civil war.
Yeah.
Their only resource now is manpower.
And that manpower is not even like
good.
It's all clones. They've got child soldiers. Pretty much if you're old enough to stand, walk, and hold a gun, you're a Krieg soldier.
Yeah, that's the thing about like that lore. Like we over embellish the Death Corps of Krieg because they're so badass, but in reality, like, they're just cannon fodder.
Yeah. The way I see Krieg guys are like, if you guys watched Game of Thrones, like that one army that they think they're the best, and then from like the side, like, you see a huge army, and it's like, well, they're done.
Yeah.
Because like you think like, oh, we've been following this army for months, like they're ready to siege the castle, they're gonna win, and then you see that the enemy has like 20 times as many men as you. So it's like they can't stand up to a Tyranid invasion. They can't stand up to a wall. Mm-hmm. But they look badass. So yeah. that's all that counts, right?
Yeah. Other Imperials are scared of them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
Erock 9. Primaris Guardsman? Question mark. But seriously, is anybody trying to make enhanced soldiers? We need a middle ground between the transhuman demigods and the dirty hobos with broken guns.
That's really funny because, like, when you said that, it's like, oh, can we get superhuman Imperial Guard? You mean Space Marines? Because that's what they are.
Right. If you bump up the stats for a regular guardsman, it becomes a Space Marine. Like, toughness 3 goes to toughness 4. That's what a Space Marine has.
Yep.
1 wound to 2 wounds. That's a Space Marine.
Yeah. And then if like you said, if you want like a buffer between the two, Tempestus Scions, which aren't that good.
You're right. Or maybe even like Sisters of Battle.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you could play the Firstborn Marines as opposed to Primaris Marines.
Yeah. So there is a lot of options in between the Imperial Guard and Space Marines. Even in the lore.
Mm-hmm.
This next question comes from Fernando Fonseca. What book do you recommend to catch up with the current lore? The rulebook, the 9th edition core rulebook. I feel like it's not that hard to get, especially because it came in the Indomitus box, and multiple people bought multiple versions of the Indomitus box. So now you can go on eBay and probably find it for cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole first part of that book is nothing but lore, and it gives you a quick synopsis of not just like the different eras, but also like each individual faction and stuff.
Yeah, the timeline is what I love about any codex because it gives you quick, precise info, and it moves pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Coda is asking, do humans have sex in 40K? Or rather, do they even have an opportunity for such, considering how much death-ridden worlds are?
Nope, they're never fucking.
None at all. Slaanesh does not exist.
Yeah.
There's no procreation, no pleasure worlds, none of that.
No. But yeah, I think like there's a misconception that like it's so oppressive and stuff like that. You still have civilized worlds where they have the technology of like a hive world, but they have like environments like ours. Yeah. With seasons, and not everything is a wasteland, stuff like that.
Even in wastelands where it's like you're barely surviving, like it's happening.
Yeah, look at the Road Warrior, that movie. You know that the main character was smashing that other chick. And they're in a literal wasteland. Still smashing.
Yeah, it's only human nature to try to procreate.
Yeah. Whether it's in water, in the trash, in the sky.
Yeah. And like that's how pleasure worlds pop up. When a planet is doing so well, they decide to, have it just be
a resort, basically a planet resort. That reminded me too. There are things called voidborn. So like when you have something like a battle fleet or like any type of battleship, there's so many people working in those ships because they're so massive. They're basically just entire cities all in their own, and they're very cramped corridors, and like it's a very like shitty place to live, especially if you have to work in the engine room and stuff like that. But even then, the people from the engine room still get down and have kids, and those kids are known as voidborn because they were born in the void. And they never leave the ship, and they just become like these weird-looking people.
Yeah, how crazy would that be to like not know what like sunlight is or like breathing air? You're just born, raised, and die on a ship.
Yeah, you basically look like the gray aliens that visit Earth.
Maybe that's what Voidborn are in our world.
Yeah, they're just Voidborn aliens from the future.
Next time I have sleep paralysis, I won't be scared.
When you have sleep paralysis, do you see an alien or a witch?
I've never seen aliens. It's always been witches. But it's like off the corner of my eye. Like I've never actually like been face to face.
Oh, okay.
Because I'd have a heart attack. And that's it. You could have my army.
Yeah. Somebody told me that like you're not supposed to wake up.
Somebody like that?
Yeah, who's sleepwalking because they can have a heart attack. But the other day, I had a dream that I was with a bunch of my friends, and we were at a zoo, and the fence broke to the hippo place.
Oh, that's the worst place to break a fence.
Yeah, and I heard that hippos are they kill more people than like lions do and sharks and stuff like that. So one of my friends jumps down into like the not the pit, but like the the edge before you get to the pit of the hippos, and one of the hippos just came out and like grabbed him by the sweater and then dragged him in the water. So then I jumped in to like help him as if I was going to be able to do something. But I remember being so scared, and I instantly woke up. Like my eyes opened up and everything, and then I had a pain in my chest, and I was thinking like, am I having a heart attack? I don't think I did. But
Did you smell burnt toast?
no. Why am I supposed to?
I think that's a symptom or a sign that you might be.
I've had that happen just randomly. Like I'm see somebody burning toast, but I'm inside my house, and I didn't burn toast. But yeah, I digress. Aliens.
Xenos.
Next question.
This one is by Seiji Moon. Will Gilliman die if he takes off the suit? Because I thought the suit would just make sure that he didn't die before the ritual finished. And if he was revived almost 100%, then I'm sure that he even had to die as part of the mentioned ritual.
That's a good question. I don't know too much about the suit.
Yeah, as far as I know, the suit is why he's alive. So I think if he took it off, then yeah, he'd go back to being in his near-death state and eventually death state.
Yeah.
Anyway, why would he want to take it off? It's like freaking the strongest suit of armor ever.
Maybe it's like a cast. Like, did you ever have a cast when you were a kid? And then you have to like stick things to scratch your...
Yeah, I've never broken anything, so I've never had a cast.
Yeah, me neither. But all the kids were like, they would stick pencils down there, and then they would let them go, and then they would be stuck in there.
Yeah.
And they get to go to the nurse, and then get to go home. See, my trick to go home back when I was in school is just say I couldn't see out of my left eye. Because what's a school nurse gonna say to a kid who's like, "Oh, you can't see anymore"?
Oh, you got a right eye, don't you? Go back to class.
This question comes from Mick McClaff. Which of the Primarchs is the most orky? I would have to say Leman Russ.
Yeah, because he does like a fight. I don't know why when I thought of orcs, I thought of like mech boys. And I was going to say like Perdrabo and Vulcan because like they build and like they forge and whatnot. But yeah, orcs are more about might makes right. And that's pretty much how the freaking the wolf, the great wolf, the wolf king lived his life.
Yeah, never showering, always punching, kicking, biting.
And if he wasn't doing that, he was drinking or wrestling, tussling.
And the orcs love to drink. They make ale out of squig. It's called squig ale.
Very thought-provoking.
Go ahead.
Amit Bichar. Why doesn't the Emperor of Man heal himself if he is worshipped by countless trillions humans, and maybe some Xenos as well? If anything, shouldn't his power grow with the number of his worshippers?
No, so that's not exactly how the warp works. Their worship is manifesting a god entity inside the warp because of their emotions, their devotional emotions. You don't necessarily, like, psychers still have to be sacrificed in order for the emperor to survive.
Right.
You can't, it's like when, people say, oh, I'll pray for you. That does nothing. But killing a bunch of psychers does.
Yeah. So like his physical body is healed or at least kept somewhat living through the sacrifice of the shaman, but his apotheosis into godhood, that's what the beliefs are feeding into.
Yep.
So one's metaphysical, one's physical.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be exciting if they do decide to make a god emperor, because then we're going to have two, one on the throne and one in the ether.
Mm-hmm.
This question comes from Mogi's Workshop. My wife wants to know if a woman is on her period, is she a worshiper of corn? Corn cares not from whence the blood flows, only that it flows. True,
but it's not like if you don't worship corn just by bleeding, you're not worshiping.
Right.
Yeah. You would have to have that belief. You can't just by doing it, you can't just worship him.
Right.
Or else everybody would be a chaos worshiper. Because just by trying to be the best you, that's feeding into perfection, that's Slanesh. Just by having kids, that's feeding into Slanesh. Every time you sneeze or get sick, that's feeding Nurgle. You're not praising them when you do these things. You just do it.
Yep. So it's not intentional.
Right.
If you're scared, you could always, next time you guys have a nice bottle of wine, save the cork and then just... that way blood does not flow.
There you go. Take that, corn. Yomo Holo. Are the old ones the dinosaurs?
Lizardmen, yeah. Seraphons, slans, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Even though there is a race called the slan. Yeah.
But no, the old ones were like frog toad people.
Yep.
Which, if you look at the designs of the Blackstone Fortress, what are those things called? It's like the little like World of War.
Oh, little construct things? Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Like if you just look at them without the little legs, like they kind of look like the top of a frog somewhat. So maybe you could say they were kind of designed in the image of the old ones, if that's what they were trying to go with.
Yeah, maybe. My mind is still on like the bleeding thing, because I was going to say it kind of looks like ovaries.
Yeah. Maybe underease too.
This next question comes from Sabir Hussein Akash. Beautiful full dating or best full dating love sex only adults. 18xcam.xyz.
Oh.
I'm gonna click that link. We've been getting a lot of those.
Yeah.
Thanks to you know who and his posse of you know whats.
This one's by Scott Chambers. How does the Emperor actually devour the Psychers to sustain himself? Would it be possible to have a strong Psyker at some point to be able to ward themselves from him?
Usually he has like a really long straw.
And when the straw kind of breaks or gets like a little hole in it, the suction doesn't work, so he has to be manually fed.
Yep. Either that, or I think it's just like something that GW hasn't really like, talked about. Because like they all die at once, and it's like
almost like a ritual. It's like they sit in like a circle and there's like psychic stuff happening, and then they all just drink the Kool-Aid and fall.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be a football stadium size thing of psychers that get sacrificed every single day. Think about that.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
The big one. If scientists discovered that the planet Mars was made out of barbecue spare ribs, how soon would you guys be in the next rocket ship to Mars so you can just pig out?
I actually don't like barbecue sauce.
I was going to say, I don't like ribs.
You don't like ribs?
No, I feel like it's too messy. It's not enough meat, and it's just a bad time. Like your fingers get dirty, your mouth is dirty. When I take bites, I want to take big bites, not like little nibbles.
Yeah. Do you chew on the bone?
No.
Oh, that's one thing too, I guess.
Yeah, because I know people that just like suck on the bone and like want to suck the meat out.
Yeah, my mouth is watering because that's me. When I eat chicken wings, the top of the drumstick and the bottom of the drumstick I bite off, and I just eat it. Because that's who I am.
Is it because you want to get to the marrow, or just because?
Because it just tastes good. Sometimes you still have sauce, so I'll dip it in like ranch or buffalo sauce and then bite it off. But yeah, I mean, what if Mars was filled? What would be your favorite food?
That is a good question. I was gonna say brisket, but I'm like,
Brisket would be good.
Yeah.
You need to have brisket with something though, because otherwise that will kill you. That's too much salt.
That is a lot of salt. Yeah. Brisket with a mashed potato center.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I want mashed potatoes now. Next question.
Brian Lee Lazaro Vasquez. What are the chances that I am a Primark?
Well, touch your private areas. Do you have any? If you don't, and you're not a woman, you're
a Primark.
You're a Primark.
Do you have wings growing? Can you control things with your mind? Are you always angry all the time? Do you have a twin that's just like you and you never know who's the original and who's you?
Yep.
Do you have red eyes and black skin? Are you asleep on a rock? In a rock?
Do you ride a lion? Did he ride a lion?
In my mind, he always rides lions.
Yeah, you got them all.
Yeah, if you answered yes to any one of these, you might be a Primark. There's more. Crossbow 7734. Are there space stations in 40K universe? Or just like hive cities? But in space.
Of course. There's a lot of stories of those space stations being assaulted by Tyranids, by Dark Eldar. I think Dark Eldar and pirates. So like, what are they called? The freebooters?
Yeah.
That would be the most common place that they would hit up a space station.
And around Terra, they have like space stations with like freaking guns on them to like defend it.
Yep.
So yeah, there's tons of them everywhere.
The asteroid belt between, what is it, Mars and my very what is it? My very energetic mother, just also Jupiter. So between Mars and Jupiter.
Wow, I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, my very energetic mother just served us 9 pizzas, even though pizzas are no more. Wait, did I put 10? I thought there was 9 planets. My very energetic. Oh, I'm doing syllables. Energetic is just one. Okay.
Yeah, it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto.
Yeah.
See, I struggled with months, but I knew the planets.
Months?
Yeah, like it always confused me. Like, was it April, May, June, July? Or what happened to January? It was like, I don't know.
To this day, I get confused with June and July. They should just change those J's into something else. Is it one Julius Caesar?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's how I'm going to remember it from now on. And then this is going to be the last question. We'll go with Foxora. Much like the Emperor is seemingly becoming manifested as a god, do you think that orcs will be able to manifest Gork and Mork? No. And the reason for that is just that they don't really worship Gork and Mork. Those are just the gods that exist.
Mm-hmm. I think if anything, it's just the warp heads, right? Or do they just like...
Right, you're right. Yep. Just the warp heads and then the Rutherers, or in other words, runt herders, who tell the stories of Gork and Mork.
To the little Gretchens.
Yep.
Or is it Grots?
Both. Grats are the smaller ones, Gretchens are the big ones. And he says, also, how goddamn terrifying would this be if there was a chaos god of Gork and Mork? Not that terrifying, to be honest with you. I don't even think the chaos gods are that terrifying because like they never come out of real space or the Immaterium, and you can't go in. And even if you go in, you can't you can't like fathom what they are.
Mm-hmm.
You should check out our 40 facts on the Palace of Slanesh, so the Pleasure Palace, the Labyrinths of Tzeentch, the Garden of Nurgle, and then like just the Realm of Khorne. Like the descriptions of their realm is just an example of how unfathomably like crazy that is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not scary.
No. Unless you're scared of unfathomable things.
Right.
But then you're just scared of the unknown. Thank you for listening. You usually close these out.
Oh, this was Gershwin.
Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and we are...